we're making sure the structure holds, making sure you meet code, making sure everything kind of works together and that things are supported because it's all part of what we do. It just looks like a couple sheets of paper, but there's a
Right.
lot that goes into those.
I'm with Mathew Smith from MLS Architecture. He has been in business for himself for just under 2 years, but working as an architect for over 20. I'm Risha Walden, interior designer, founder of Walden Interiors, and your host. And this is a podcast where we go beyond beautiful spaces and dive into what it really takes to build them. Every week, I sit down with brilliant minds behind the scenes like builders, contractors, architects, real estate pros, artisans, fellow creatives to talk business. We explore how they got started, what keeps them going, and how they've built businesses that not only succeed, but inspire. Join me this week with Matthew Smith from MLS Architecture. So, Matt, tell me a little bit about your business and about why did you start your business?
All right, so we're MLS Architecture. We started about a year and a half ago. Obviously, I've been doing this for 20
Right.
years.
So it's interesting. Why did you start your business? Because you've been doing it 20 plus years and now you've started going out on your own, right?
I think anyone that goes through the pain of getting their architecture license has that kind of you know bold vision to I'm going to do this myself. You know, it's a lot of schooling, a lot of exams, and
Yeah, yeah.
after working for someone for so long, you're like, I've got all the credentials. We can do it. And we can do it well. So why not?
Right. Okay, yeah. Because that is, I'm not an architect, because there are a lot of credentials, a lot of, knowledge that you have to know because it's not simply lines on the paper.
Hmm.
It's really like how do those lines build up and
Right.
like the mechanics behind it. And yeah. And I'm so happy that when I work with architects like you, they have that knowledge because I know what I want. I don't know how to create it. I just know like this is the vision I have.
Right.
So what impact do you want to leave then with starting your own business? Yes, you can do it, you can go on your own, but there's more to it than that.
Right. No, I want to build like a brand and a reputation for being, quality and trusted and, just like a recognized name. We do a lot of work. We do residential, we do commercials, we do interiors, we do restaurants. Restaurants are more my favorite. They're personal,
Okay.
they're fun, commercial spaces, cafes, but, dealing with homeowners too is a great experience and watching those visions come to life is great.
So when you were before your business, were you working directly with the end consumer, the homeowner or the restaurant owner, or is this a new start where you're actually directly working with the homeowners?
No, I've always had client interaction. And that's also the reason why I thought I could, come out on our own because we do everything. The only thing that's new is chasing the work and doing the billing. That's the fun part.
Yeah, chasing the work. Exactly. Yeah, working with clients is fun, right? And seeing their vision
Hmm.
and knowing that you can create that. What's one of your favorite client stories?
There's a lot. Depends on what kind of client stories you want, like the horror stories or the funny
Yeah, like a
stories
good
or
one, like
the.
a good one that sticks and you're like, okay, this reminds me of why I'm doing architecture.
We were opening a new like brand of retail. Bloomingdale's I made to a smaller format, Bloomies, and this is one of their prototype stores. And we spec'd out all the interior wall coverings and the furniture and stuff. And we're there in like a week till opening, and they realize they're not going to get their wallpaper in time. So the
Oh, man.
construction director, they had it ready, so he paid someone to get in a van and drive across 3 state lines to go pick it up and bring it back in time. And then as we're like, getting ready for opening, I'm doing my punch list. I see the directors of this major corporation, and they're putting together furniture
Oh,
and
they're
stuff.
actually hands on. Let's get this
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Like all these people are like in big meetings and suits and, only talk to the higher ups. They're all there, like,
Committed. That's,
committed to
yeah,
getting ready for opening.
it is commitment because you want, you promise your client things and
Hmm.
you want to be good on those promises. And so it's always like, do commit first and then figure it out and do whatever it takes,
Hmm.
really.
Yep.
What's the biggest mistake that you like now that you're in business for yourself and you're talking to clients? What's the biggest mistake that you see the clients are making when you're either starting potential clients or
The biggest thing is like they don't understand what architecture is. Like they go and it's a common misconception, especially in the residential world where, you know, they think, "Oh, I want an addition, I want a renovation." They talk to the contractor first,
Yeah.
and then if it's a good contractor, they'll tell them, "You need an architect." So, then they're unprepared and like, everything gets set back because, we can't draw in a day.
Right.
And there's like we touched on before, there's a lot of stuff that goes in the background. It's not just a pretty drawing. There's the regulations, the code, the structure, the mechanics, and it seems like it's approachable. It's like, oh, it's just a change here,
Just a
minor
change.
change.
Right.
And it's not a minor change. It
Right.
affects everything else.
Weight
So,
bearing, the load
hmm
bearing, and yeah, it. We have the same concerns when working with our clients. Is they're like, well, I want to have this done by. I was just speaking with somebody, and they're moving in the end of June, and they want to have this work done by the end of July. But
hmm
we can't get in until June. So yes, I would love to have it done by July, but I don't even know what we're dealing with.
hmm
And so tell me about that with the starting with the contractor first. What would be the like, if someone was moving forward and let's for a homeowner, and they wanted to have the best outcome for their project, what do you see would be the best way to get started? Like, they think, "Okay, we've been talking about this. We wanna, um, bang out our house and add an addition and redo the kitchen." What do you see as the best?
I mean, ideally, they start with architecture first. We kind of align them. We try and also, I mean, we can give rough ideas of what costing comes, but I always
Right.
say you have to go to your contractor. They'll need plans to
But why
really
start with the
finalize.
architect? Why I mean, I know why, but why start with the architect? Like, why start with you? Why not start with the contractor? What does that end up happening? Because for someone who doesn't understand that process.
Because the contractor, he just wants to build it. He doesn't. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't know that you need to go through certain permit process,
Right.
make sure zoning allows it. Make sure that the weight can be supported. So you'll get all your promises from the contractor, and by the time they're done, by the time I get involved, I'm like, well, that's not really feasible, or this isn't allowed, or
Right.
now we have to go through a variance because of XYZ, and it's going to add 3 months to the project, which I could have told you up front.
Right. That's where it
It's all
starts.
it's all
Yeah.
about we can give the knowledge up front,
Right.
like here's the time frame for the project, what we need, what your contractor's probably going to need, and what kind of process, and what's really going to get you the bang for your buck.
Right. The best value, like you're better off doing this versus that because it's going to be a little less costly, but adds much more value to your real estate
Mhm.
or to your property. Or to your life, right? Um, yeah, because I know, and I have the same problem. A lot of people go to their contractors first. Not saying don't use a contractor.
No.
Contractors are great. I mean, obviously, what I do is like, otherwise you're down there, putting
Mhm.
things together, and that's not happening because you do not want me building anything. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Uh, but they want to build, right? But they want to be told. You can tell someone, hey, put a door there. Well, how wide? How tall?
Mhm.
Is it a pocket door? Is it a swing door? Is it a sliding door? What is it? And if you have all these specs, if it's already designed and then you
Mhm.
say, here's the contract, now he can bid it
Properly.
properly, right?
It's all just whatever they tell you is all just hopes and dreams until they see something they can price.
Right. So you're going to get a price and you're going to be essentially wasting your time because that price is not based on anything besides what the contractor envisions, and what the contractor envisions could be vastly different than what
Mhm.
you actually want, shockingly. I mean, I have that problem too, and I'm sure well, you always start with your plan, so the contractor already knows, "Okay, this is what you want," right?
Mhm.
And you're pulling him in at that point.
Yeah. I mean, and we work with contractors too, so we can always, bring in if they really wanna, like, get a contractor's point of view, like, right from the get-go, we can always bring them in.
Right,
We can make our recommendations, or I can recommend, like, "Well, bring them in and, have them look and, weigh in and be part of the process throughout." But
right. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just when you start with one, it gives you a false sense of security because by the time we're done, maybe they're not available anymore.
Yeah, that's true, right? Full sense of security because you may think that you want to use this contractor, but now you have to go back, get the drawings done. and you could be 6 months away, and now by then, the contractor is gone off and said, well, I'm now building this place over
Yeah.
here." So now we're waiting 8 months because he's like, "I'll be done in December, and we can
Hmm.
start in January."
It does happen, but
Yeah, more than I think anybody who is not familiar with construction or and not familiar with the process, which in residential happens
oh, it's a
probably
complicated
90,
process.
yeah,
So, like,
90 of
I don't
the
expect
time.
anyone to know it, but that's what we're there. We help, make
Guide
sure
that.
they understand and guide. And
Yeah.
here's what we do, and here's what you need to do.
Yeah. It's so you're like a therapist too.
Some of our design sessions do get into that.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's in that I find that it's in the, confusion
Mhm.
where it makes it difficult to move forward. People don't have the confidence to move forward, and they don't have any clarity. So they're like, "Wait, I don't know." But the more clarity you can bring, then the confidence comes for understanding, and then decision making becomes way easier,
Yeah, it's a
right?
very, any addition, any project, renovation, addition. There's
Anything.
so much, like confusion and anxiety, like because they just don't know.
Right.
It's a hard business to be in. It's hard for
It
us to
is.
know, but like that's what we do. It's I'm sure you as well. Like,
Oh,
this is the
absolutely.
process. This is how it gets done. This is, you got to give them that, like you said, that level of comfort.
Right.
Like my team is on it.
Right. And I find that the my processes get tighter, more and but more complex at the same time because I'm like, okay, we need to make sure we continue to add this little step in here, or that
Hmm.
we have taken for granted because this client has raised a new little issue, right? And said, okay, um, geez, like we haven't had that issue before. We need to make sure that it doesn't happen again because we want to make it as clear as possible. And I'm sure you have that with.
Yeah, there's always learning examples. Like,
Mhm.
oh, let's make sure this never happens again, or let's make sure this is clear. But we do our best to avoid that. We've been doing it enough times that we can see those key indicators and try and get ahead of it.
So, what would be a good key indicator that what would be something that you see with a client that you're like, hold on, we got to get a step back. What's an example of that? Do you have an example you could that you're like, wait, you got to step back here. You're way ahead of yourself.
Yeah, like when they want to like just, oh, I just want to build up to my fence. I'm like, that's usually not allowed. Or, and the problem is too is a lot of these houses, especially around here, they were done before modern zoning. So
Right,
what's there is allowed, grandfather, but people think like, well, it's already there. So I'll just keep going. And I'm like, that's unfortunately not how it works. It's how we'd love it to work. That's not how it works.
right,
Anything new has to be built to the new rules. So, or you get a variance, which we do. We help people with. They're long, painful processes, and it's
right.
basically going to court. But we can help navigate that, or advise
And
people on who to contact and
right.
navigate that.
So when you're talking about variances, is that just having more information for the court so that they can make an informed decision?
They
Is
need
that
they need drawings and they need like professional testimony. So they'll call us up as the architect to explain the plan, explain the hardship, and try and like get into why they should allow it, whether it's precedence or hard. The lot was half the size it's supposed to be. Well, so you should allow some addition so it's
right,
in context with the neighborhood. Like these people want more than a closet for a kitchen. Like they should
right.
allow it. Wasn't their fault. Their house was built on a lot half the size it should be.
And then that for that neighborhood.
Mm.
Okay, that makes sense. So do you find those same issues with commercial
No,
architecture?
commercial's a little easier in that sense. Commercial, but landlords have already kind of figured out, and the space is the space, and it's zoned for the space. So what for commercial, it's sometimes we get people that are just like starting out. It's not their third shop; it's their first. It's the American dream. They want to open a bakery. They want to open a restaurant, and then you know, we come in, we have our consultation, and then, you know, do you have this? Have you talked to, a supplier for you want a bakery? Okay, so you need ovens, you need mixers,
Right,
did have you consulted with a kitchen supplier? Because they'll do the design and they'll help supply the kitchen. And then, we work with them because they tell us they're
affect them, right.
professionals and like what's the best arrangement for this kind of thing. and sometimes people just don't know that what that cost is. So we've had a few false starts in there, like where people are like, okay, I want to go, and then you know what, we reached out to these people and we got pricing, and it's not the right time for us.
Right. And in fact, I just had a conversation with someone who wanted to redo their retail space, and there was a huge divide between what her vision is and
Hmm.
the cost of that versus reality. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right. But honestly, good on her because she kept saying, well, I don't know the process.
Mhm.
This is the first time she's a new salon owner. And she's like, I just don't know where to start, but this is what I have to start with. Like, okay, we'll save and like you can do this, but it's gonna, and of course, what did we see? Anything but like prices only going up. I swear
Hmm.
I keep changing my estimates because what was once okay, 45,000 to do that room,
Hmm.
that space. It's not 45,000 anymore.
No.
It's 60, 75,000 to do the same space. You're like, oh my goodness,
Yep.
you know.
I've had that question. You think prices will go down? I'm like, probably not.
Yeah.
We can all hope, but no,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think
we've
so.
never
Don't
seen
bank
that.
on it.
Don't wait. Yeah. Well, my new line with my clients is, if you think that it's expensive now, wait a year,
Yeah.
and then you'll be complaining about how expensive it is. Yeah. Um, what's the biggest misconception people have about your business?
I think we kind of touched on it already. Like, it's
Yeah.
just that it's simple. It's just drawings. It's just I'm
Yeah.
just laying out a space. But no, we're making sure the structure holds, making sure you meet code, making sure everything kind of works together and that things are supported because it's all part of what we do. It just looks like a couple sheets of paper, but there's a
Right.
lot that goes into those.
Do people have a misconception about the kind of like I guess the other thing would be besides the work, is there other things that people are expecting the architect to do that really doesn't fall in your scope?
Sometimes, but for the most part, I'm pretty clear with
Okay,
what
so
is
it's
and what is in our
right.
scope.
So they may start in on that, but you're like, okay, wait,
The
stop.
biggest thing is they want me to give them pricing. I'd say that's the biggest like, what does this cost? And like I said, I can give round, rough numbers based on what I think, but at the end of the day, like it's not worth anything because it's not a contract on
Right,
paper. Like, I want to get you in the ballpark. I want to get your expectations lined up. Like, it
right.
should be conditions gonna be between 500 and 750. Like, that's probably where it's gonna be. You
But
know,
that's a big spread. So it's like,
I
okay,
get that. Like, oh, that's
right,
a big spread. I'm like,
yeah,
well, as you know, in your business, like
right.
a kitchen, you own a kitchen, that can be 50,000, that can be 250,000.
Oh,
It just
easily. We can
depends on
always
what you
spend
want to
more.
do.
Yeah, we can always spend more money.
But no, I never said like, you don't want to go the lowest. You,
Right,
you don't want to be at that bottom level
right,
because the amount of work that goes into a renovation, having the
right.
contractors doing all the work, the time, the inconvenience, the
The
disruption
stress.
to your
Yeah,
life, the stress, and then you went on the cheap version of the
right.
cabinets. Like, you're just not going to be happy with the product.
Right, because there's just no cheap because those cheap cabinets are gonna cost you. Maybe not now,
Oh, later.
on yeah, it's a big balancing act too,
Hmm.
right? To get that value versus price,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. What advice would you give a professional just starting out?
like starting out like a junior architect,
Yeah,
like, ask questions.
yeah,
Like, you don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm learning every day.
yeah, every
But it
day.
took me a long time to know what I know, and nothing scares me more than when people are just quiet for days. That means like you're just going on a wild tangent, and hopefully it's close. But I'm like, no, you should be asking, what's this? What's that? How do we, how does this work?
Mm,
Is this the right way to do this? Like, these are,
you have to be curious.
it. It shouldn't be. I shouldn't go a week without hearing questions. That's when I know something's wrong.
That's funny, that's funny. Well, things keep changing too. The codes, for instance, are
Hmm.
gonna change, right?
Next year.
Right?
Hmm.
Yeah, next year. In fact, I heard that some codes are changing down on the shore for flood zones. Is
Yeah, I'm sure,
is
but
that coming up in July or something on residential anyways?
they put a they put a moratorium on all code changes. New York has already changed. Other
Oh,
states have changed, but
New
politicians have
Jersey?
said, like, no changes for the rest of the year, but that ends in, I think, July, and then they'll get
Okay.
readopted probably in next year. So, there's gonna be another learning curve coming.
Right. So if you're thinking, "Oh, I'll start my construction, you know, this year based on these drawings, you better
Get in before the new stuff changes.
get
Although
in.
I can't say it could be better.
Right, it
So
could be better, but
some
what
things have changed for the better from what I've heard, and others have, they always
bring
get
it
a
back.
little. They always put more safety. So more
Right,
safety means more structure, more
right,
weight, more. Roofs get heavier or designed to be heavier so that in a massive blizzard, which we haven't had in a while, except for this winter, but
right.
in a massive blizzard, they won't fall down, which is great. But there's just more lumber, more labor, more
More
everything, more
costs.
insulation.
Yeah, yeah. What keeps you inspired to continue?
Seeing the work done,
Yeah,
like drawing it, designing it, work with homeowners, and then seeing the finished product.
yeah.
It's houses take a little longer, but I used to be in high end retail, and those have to turn quick.
Okay.
So it was always nice to see like the finished product.
Mm,
So that's what keeps me going is seeing the vision come to life.
yeah, where you have it in your mind,
Hmm.
and then it's like, "Oh, it really turned out that way," right?
Hmm.
I love that. That because I find that I don't know about you, but, uh, when I'm designing for my clients, that when I see it, I have the vision already. So then I'm already living in the space for months before it actually is finished. And then it's like, "Oh, yes, it turned out exactly the way I envisioned it to, because like I've been dreaming about it for
Hmm.
months." What's one thing about yourself that you're working on changing?
Delegating more. I'm a
Uh,
little too hands on. I
yeah.
got to trust the staff to do what they do, and then me to do what I'm supposed to do, which is get the business
Right.
and do things like this. This remote, but
Right.
I've been a hands on architect all my career, so I always have to like touch the project before it goes out, which is good for the clients. But
Right. Well, it's that creative process, right? That is inspiring. And it's fun to be part of that. Yeah.
yep.
So you are the big visionary in your firm,
Hmm.
and then you have a few. How many people have you got working for you?
I think 4 now.
4. Great. Yeah. And so it's keeping them on track and making sure they're not
Hmm.
quiet.
Yeah. Making sure they're keeping things going, have questions, know when to bring it up. Yeah.
Cool. What do you think needs to be improved in the industry?
Just, awareness and coordination with architects and contractors, awareness of what we do, what it takes, how long it takes, realistic expectations. And
Have you seen changes in the length of time that it takes to actually see a project from beginning to end?
no, that's more or less stayed the same. You know, that's, yeah, that's just how long it takes to design is about how long it takes to design. And then
Right.
it's all about timing and the construction, like, especially like residences, like, you want to get foundations in before the winter,
Right.
during the winter, no one really wants to dig a hole because the ground's frozen. So,
Right. Yeah.
so we have our ups and downs, our lulls, our busy seasons. But
So when you start with a client, say for instance, and they're like, "Well, we wanna," they're starting maybe August with you and they're
hmm
thinking, "Oh, we'll start digging December."
yeah,
You've already
I start
nipped that in the bud?
uh, I start bracing them for reality. Like, in August, I would say if we can make fast decisions, and complete decisions, and not, sometimes
Right.
designs take a while, and as people like think about it, and talk about it as we're doing things, and they talk to friends, and they're like, "Oh, I want these changes." Like, well, okay, but now,
That's
we're eating into our window here.
right. So when would, if you were gonna start something that required a dig, we're not talking like an interior
Mhm,
renovation, but what would be a good time to start so that gives you enough time before you have to, that allows you to dig so you've got it framed out
mhm.
before winter? Like where, how
The
far in
be-
advance do you need to be
if you like, the best timing is around December,
to get
January, because have our conversations, we start the design process, we get our drawings ready, you can start interviewing contractors, get the permits, and then by all that, you're ready in like February, March. You may not be ready to dig, but now you've set a schedule with the contractor. Like,
right,
I want to dig in April.
right,
That's usually the best. I mean, spring, still fine, means you're in like summertime, fine. Just when you're say like August, September, that's when the exterior work starts to,
go down. So you
it's
wanna
just,
you wanna have it framed out, you wanna have it closed in so that
they can work on the inside. And
right. So the end of the year to get going for the end of the following year, if you were even to, right? It people just really don't have an understanding and, which is fine because I get it because I don't
Mhm.
understand like financial stuff. I'm like,
I
okay,
get
I
asked
need a
about
professional.
financing and taxes. Like, well, my taxes go up. I was like, talk to your assessor. Most likely, yes, but how much is you'd have to ask them. Every town's different.
So it's like using those professionals to get the information you want. And
Mhm.
this, really rely on your architect or your professional, your contractor, designer for that scope of work and that information to get
Mhm.
you the clarity and understanding, right? It's it's clients relying on us for education
Yeah,
too, because I find that I do a lot of education as I'm
well, of course.
yeah. What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
I saw that question. I don't know what the right answer is. So just
Oh, there's
keep
no right
going.
answer. No right
Just
answer.
keep going. It gets better. Architecture at 20 was a very tough time.
Oh, really? What made it tough?
Just architecture school. The degree, the program is grueling. And then, when I was in my 20s, it was not COVID, the recession. So, that
Okay.
made graduating a great time.
Ah, yeah.
So
Okay. Is that why you came out and started working for a firm, or did you find that was the best way to get the experience that you
it's always best to go to a firm. But it's always best to like, there's two schools of thought. You stay at a firm and you grow within and, you become associates, principal, partners, or you jump around because firms usually only do things one way and that's it. And you
right,
only get like whatever like their design philosophy is, like that's it. That's all you get. So if you jump around, I'm not saying like every year, but like a couple
right,
years, and a couple years here, a couple years there, you kind of broaden your experience. You get a bit of this experience and that experience and that experience. You become more of a well-rounded, professional. So that's more or less what I did.
right.
Not intentionally doing that, but like every time you hit a ceiling, like this is it, this is my role, and there's no growth. It's like, okay, well, let's see if there's a new opportunity and try to go somewhere where you can learn something new.
Well, I mean, I've seen it, but maybe, from your experience, do the design firms have their, like, design aesthetic or design
Yes.
style? And that like, have you learned from that, or have you found that, okay, that bounces up against you, or it's just expanded you?
It's good to see multiple people's like styles and expressions. So that's kind of balanced me a bit, but it all depends on who's the head designer at the time.
And so what's your favorite style to work in? Where do you think you shine?
More modern kind of than traditional. Traditional is that takes a certain mindset, and while we're happy to do it, we can do it. It's just it's a whole different level, especially historic. I've done some of those projects, but that gets into a very um you need a very specific knowledge
Yeah,
to do that.
absolutely. Yeah, historical. And here in Jersey too, I think
Hmm.
over 70% of the homes are
Yeah, they have that character to
like
them.
character. Well, how do you bridge that gap between the traditional home, like for instance, my home, which is an 1889
Hmm.
Victorian, and creating an addition, the expansion, the renovation of that home to function for a modern lifestyle and maybe more of a modern aesthetic that the homeowners have.
Yeah, I mean that depends on the homeowner, but like if they want to do an addition, that usually they want to go a little bit more modern, a little less traditional, but sometimes you go the extreme, like the addition is just like a departure.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like I just met a client, and they're like, I want the sunroom, I want all glass, clean lines, but their home is has all this, molding, and it's a very old home with a lot of character. Other times it's like you will go a little modern, but you want to keep the detail, that makes those
Right.
traditional homes then, like the moldings or, just how like the door frames interact and things like that. So you kind of have to keep that all in mind. So it's not like such a departure. It's just an upgrade, but with the same character.
Yeah. Do you find that to be more of a difficult,
It can be.
like, yeah.
That's why I call someone like you.
Good. Well, it's fun working with architects because it's from a complete different perspective. And of course, you have your area of expertise, and then I'm looking at it from my area of
Mhm.
expertise. And when When you get a great team, and then of course including that contractor in it, that's when you really get like a heightened level of design, as well as your expectations are like exceeded, because we really can look at it from different ways of how the home is built and used, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
The best way is to get everyone on board and that they're a team. A lot of times it's combative almost. It's almost like
Mm,
the architect versus the contractor
right.
and the interior designer. That's a lot happens a lot in this industry, but the best way is like we're all a team. We're all here for the same thing.
Right.
We all want a good project. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
as long as, so when like you get a team, like if we recommend someone we're comfortable working with,
Yeah.
you know, then just works better. They call, they have questions, we resolve it,
Yeah,
versus
it's
just, oh, I just did it this way. Is it okay?
not really. No, it is because really you're working for the client and finding
Hmm.
you are their eyes, ears, and voice. And at the end of the day, it's like, what is best for the client? And it's in that that collaborative
Hmm.
communication, that, okay, they want this and I want this, and we have to do like this. So where do we find it? We can all get that piece to mold it into the finished project that actually exceeds what the client, because the clients, I find that they have a vision, but they're limited because they haven't had the experience and the breadth of knowledge to understand how much more is available,
Hmm.
right? And that's where you and I come in, that we're like, okay, we can do that, but we can also do this way, way more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun. So fun working together. So if people want to get a hold of you, where should they go, Matt?
You can go to our website, mlsarch.com. We have all our projects examples, and we always try and add a little content to answer those questions that homeowners have. One being like, why hire an architect? What
Yes,
kind of
yes.
addition do I want?
Right.
So we try and give a little bit of content every now and then just to like bridge that gap. Answer some of those questions, show that we know what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So we will put all his contact information below. If you like this video, subscribe, save, share, comment. We'd love to hear from you. And there's always the next video coming up right over here.